After a harrowing escape, Roland treated the girls to a celebratory shopping spree and a delicious, affordable hot pot dinner. Back at the apartment building, they unexpectedly encountered Garcia waiting for them on their floor. Her stern expression conveyed her displeasure. Roland stammered an explanation, but Garcia cut him off, her sharp tone causing Phyllis to frown. The old witch, with a rumbling burp, began to defend Roland, but he quickly intervened and sent the girls home, promising to be back soon. Roland braced himself for Garcia's fury after his flimsy excuse and abrupt phone call. He imagined her exploding with anger, a natural reaction for anyone stood up like that. But to his surprise, she'd waited. This implied a severe staffing shortage at the association. Inside Garcia's apartment, she bypassed offering him a seat and launched straight into questioning his motives. Her gaze was sharp, scrutinizing him. Roland, feeling a throb at his temples, requested ice water. As he sipped the cool water, he voiced his concern about the recent rise in fallen evil sightings, mentioning his own encounter that day. Garcia's brows furrowed. She knew about the Green Valley Park incident. The association, not the police, handled such matters. All nearby martialists, including Garcia, were notified. Roland feigned ignorance about the monster's demise and the missing natural core. Garcia, however, remained tight-lipped about the culprit, citing confidentiality and the incident being an association secret. She confirmed the association's struggles due to the accelerating erosion from the alien world, a looming major crisis. Erosion again, Roland noted, intrigued. Garcia explained the potential outcomes: world destruction or mass insanity. This crisis transcended gender, race, and nationality. All those awakened with the force of nature had a responsibility to fight. She passionately emphasized the martialists' duty to defend the world, acknowledging the fear and hesitation but stressing the lack of alternatives. Roland, surprised by her candor, considered her unconventional approach. Unlike most negotiators who sugarcoat difficulties, Garcia exposed the association's shortcomings and the sacrifices involved. This honesty, he realized, might deter potential recruits, as heroism held little appeal in today's self-serving world. Initially motivated by personal gain, Roland now saw a bigger picture. As a world creator, he felt compelled to use the Martialist Association to uncover the truth behind the force of nature's mutation, the erosion, and the enigmatic bloody moon. He just bid farewell to Garcia, a warrior woman with a fierce demeanor. Spotting Phyllis waiting in the living room, a hint of worry creased his brow. "Your Majesty," Phyllis began, her voice laced with curiosity, "who was that visitor?" Roland sighed again, the weight of his secret settling on him. "She's a warrior," he explained, "one touched by the magic of this dream world and awakened." "Don't be put off by her attitude," he added, waving a dismissive hand. "Here, no one knows the truth, that I am a king." "Despite being your creation," Phyllis persisted, a hint of defiance lingering. "Isn't she also a creation of yours like everything else in this world?" Roland settled into the chair opposite her. "They hold different beliefs," he explained. "The people here possess their own memories, their own lives built independent of me. This world functions by its own laws, which I too must adhere to." Phyllis's eyes sparkled with a fascination born of her encounters in this fantastical realm. There was a question she'd been burning to ask, a question fueled by the strangeness of it all. Stealing a glance at Zero's bedroom door, she leaned in and whispered, "Your Majesty, is this truly your past? Forgive my boldness, but perhaps you aren't actually Prince Roland of Grey Castle, are you?" "It all makes sense now," Phyllis exclaimed, eyes sparkling with realization. "Neverwinter, it reflects this world. When I first arrived, I couldn't understand why the city had such wide, open roads, especially within the crowded areas. But now, it's clear, they weren't built for carriages, but for those incredible, fast vehicles you mentioned. All the pieces fit: your advanced weaponry, the ambitious plan for a 10-story building, even that impressive machine powered by boiling water. It all seems connected to this world you came from." Roland pondered for a moment before responding. "Yes, I am Prince Roland. But when I arrived in Border Town, strange memories flooded my mind. Abstract, incredible knowledge I'm only beginning to grasp." He withheld the truth about his time travel, a secret reserved for his most trusted witch. Phyllis accepted his explanation without hesitation. Then these memories must be a divine gift. The tequila witches always believed the deities held no love for humans, but it seems we were mistaken. You bear the mark of their favor. With you at our side, victory over the demons is certain. Roland felt a jolt at her unwavering faith. He'd been struggling to win over the tequila survivors, yet here she stood, brimming with confidence, a stark contrast to the park and restaurants he'd shown her. A sliver of doubt gnawed at him. Was a picnic and hot pot enough to inspire such unwavering belief? Roland cautiously voiced his doubts. Phyllis, ever direct, responded, "It's all about those four-wheeled iron vehicles, Your Majesty." The carriages? Roland raised an eyebrow. Precisely, Phyllis continued. Back in Tequila, our logistics relied on countless horses and carriages to supply the front lines. Witches, while swift, couldn't handle such large-scale transportation. The more they carried, the more magic power they burned, a fact you're surely aware of. Her voice grew firm. When the Union captured the demon siege beasts, it was a turning point. These colossal machines, hundreds of times heavier than a human, could be powered by a single witch. Even stripped of their iron shields and bolts, their capacity rivaled 4 or 5 carriages. It became clear, the demons possessed a far superior grasp of magic manipulation compared to us. This, along with the Quest Society's assessment, fueled Lady Alice's faith in the God's Punishment Army project. So, you judge an enemy's strength by their transportation? Roland leaned forward, captivated by her perspective. Phyllis met his gaze with a resolute nod. Absolutely. Our reach is limited by the way we move, by hand or by horse. The farther a species can travel, the more powerful they are, generally speaking. A triumphant smile played on her lips. Here, in this dream world, I've witnessed four-wheeled iron vehicles traveling distances unimaginable for carriages. They move with the wind, carrying over 100 people. It speaks volumes about this world's might. If your weapons stem from this same technology, then victory over the demons seems certain. Roland was surprised to discover Phyllis, or perhaps the very essence of tequila, shared a similar understanding of war. With a final, resolute bow, the ancient witch declared, "Though you lack the witch's touch to activate the instrument, I am convinced you are the divine emissary we've awaited." Roland, caught between amusement and a touch of exasperation, held his tongue. He recognized the value of tequila's support. It would be a boon for Neverwinter's future. Taking a deep breath, he stood. Time is of the essence. Let's begin these tests. They needed to be swift and silent, wary of disturbing Zero. After setting up the ladder, Phyllis climbed to the top and, with her back to the bed, took a deliberate fall. Yet, there was no shift in reality. Falling wouldn't grant escape from the dream world. It narrowed their options to 2, either she'd leave with him when he did, or she'd be forever bound to this fantastical realm. Roland followed her lead, reaching the top of the ladder and preparing to descend. Phyllis approached him, her voice surprisingly resolute. Even if I cannot depart, this world holds a certain charm. And if returning proves impossible, the experiences of today will forever hold a place in my heart. A bittersweet yearning for this world, perhaps. Roland offered a curt nod, a silent acknowledgement of Phyllis's words. Then, with a deep breath, he tipped backward off the ladder. The world dissolved into darkness once more, leaving only the faintest echo of Phyllis's voice and the lingering sensation of the dream. Roland cracked open his eyes, a weight anchoring his arm. Tilting his head cautiously, he came face to face with Anna's peaceful slumber. Curled on her side, her lips curved in a faint smile, she seemed lost in a pleasant dream. A flicker of relief washed over him. There it was, the escape route. He gently extricated his arm, careful not to disturb her, and sat up. After draping the quilt over Anna, he tiptoed out of the room, the weight of his secret mission pressing down on him. Downstairs, the ever-vigilant guards snapped to attention, saluting him with a chorus of clicks. He waved dismissively, the formalities a distant hum in the whirlwind of his thoughts. He made his way to the hall, heart pounding in his chest. There she was, Phyllis. Standing in the middle of the room, her expression a mask of loss. Her gaze fixated on her clenched fists, as if wrestling with the strange sensation of returning to her body. The answer was clear. Option 1. The dream world remained tethered to his consciousness. When he woke, it would freeze, expelling any outsiders. "Your Majesty," she began, voice shaky. Her lips stretched into a smile that never reached her eyes. "I seem to have woken as well." Uncertain yet, Roland smiled. "Halfway through the test, we can't tell if the light beam interaction is a fluke or not. Let's wait and see." Phyllis, surprised, asked, "Shouldn't you return to your chambers?" "Might wake Anna." Roland shook his head. "Besides, the castle has heat. Living room sleep is just as good." He spoke to a guard, who, wide-eyed, obeyed nonetheless. Half an hour later, the living room table sported a bed of cushions and quilts. Thus, a bewildered guard contingent held the living room while Roland slept solo. Phyllis and the others waited in the hall, the light beam's emergence their focus. Waking up made sleep elusive, especially with the puzzle's answer looming. Roland tossed and turned for hours, finally succumbing to sleep at dawn. The new world awoke instantly. But to his surprise, dreamland wasn't bathed in the light of a new day. Neon lights pulsed outside the window, the latter still by the bed. Phyllis's eyes fluttered open. Disbelief painted her face as she jolted awake and looked at Roland. "Your Majesty, is this real? Am I dreaming?" A smile played on his lips. The answer was clear. Dream or reality, for this witch burdened by divine punishment for centuries, perhaps it didn't matter. What mattered was the solace she finally received, a reward for her sacrifice and centuries of pain. Surprised by Phyllis's request to bring her fellow tequila witches, Roland hesitated. He wasn't opposed to them, but feeding and housing an extra 100 people, especially with Zero's suspicion towards Phyllis, was a concern. Roland couldn't risk Zero, the dream world's co-creator, sensing instability. Keeping the witches at his home was out of the question. They'd need an entire apartment building, and daily expenses would be hefty. Roland decided the witches would have to find their own solutions. His silence likely worried Phyllis. She knelt, a gesture reserved for the union's dominator, and pleaded again. Roland tried to help her up, but she persisted, begging him to let the witches stay. Realizing her misunderstanding, Roland explained his concerns. To his amusement, Phyllis sighed in relief. Accepting the witches wasn't the issue, it was the logistics. In the dream world, the tequila witches wouldn't be limited by the god's stone. Their diverse magic could revolutionize exploration and knowledge acquisition. They could even learn modern science to study magic itself. More importantly, they'd have a permanent home in this new world. Elated, Phyllis left Dreamland before dawn, racing towards Third Border City. Roland, yawning, returned to his bedroom. Nestling back into his warm covers, he embraced Anna. Her sleepy eyes fluttered open. "Awake so early," she mumbled. "Dream world business," he said, kissing her forehead. "Something unexpected kept me up." "Oh?" Her breath tickled his neck. "A good dream?" A smile played on his lips. "The sweetest," he murmured, adjusting his position to let her rest on his arm. "A sweet dream for all." Anna listened intently, her head nestled against him, as Roland recounted the god's punishment witch's unexpected arrival in the dream world. "So they can reclaim their lost emotions and live normal lives again," she sighed, a hint of wistfulness in her voice. "That's wonderful. I wish I could see your old world too." "That would require transforming your soul into a light beam," Roland replied, his hand gently stroking her hair. "Too high a price. We can build Neverwinter into a paradise, just as beautiful as the dreamland, can't we?" A soft chuckle escaped Anna's lips. "Of course. But are you feeling a twinge of guilt, perhaps?" Roland faltered, "No, I." "No explanation needed," she whispered, resting her head on his chest. A beat of silence, then a knowing smile. "Guilty because Phyllis is pretty, and worried I'd be suspicious? Am I right?" Caught red-handed, Roland could only offer a sheepish grin. Anna tilted up, her eyes warm. "But you're honest, that's why I trust you." Helping them, like you helped the witches and me, how could I doubt your kindness? It's what a king does, isn't it? Relief washed over Roland. Unlike Nightingale, Anna's trust was unwavering. Her unwavering support for the Tequila Witches and their restored consciousness was evident. Her heart, ever kind since they met, remained unchanged. From now on, promise to tell me everything about your dream world adventures, she implored, blinking her sapphire eyes. Roland readily agreed. Promise made. A contented smile graced Anna's face. She climbed onto him, cupped his cheeks, and murmured, "Now you're mine." A playful nip on his collar, and a trail of gentle kisses down his neck, their intimacy filled the bedroom with soft sounds. When Phyllis brought the astonishing news back to Third Border City, the witches erupted into a frenzy. As long as we sever consciousness within the light beam's range, can we revert to our original forms? It's inconsequential. The true marvel lies in regaining our sense of touch and smell. Is KFC truly that delectable? More so than honey-glazed roast meat? Could you transport me to the dream world? Me too. I'd also love to. They encircled Phyllis, firing a barrage of questions, their usual calm demeanor replaced by unbridled excitement. Not even the threat of demonic beasts in the underground maze had stirred them like this before. Hold! Alethea bellowed, a tentacle lashing out to snag Pasha's arm. Joining forces within the castle walls? Won't that scream tequila occupation to the entire city? Pasha grimaced, a bitter chuckle escaping her lips. Trap or not, I fear they'd leap into it with open arms. The revelation from Phyllis still hung heavy. A thriving dreamscape, a haven for their lost souls, was an offer no survivor of tequila could resist. Not only that, but the king of the common people supposedly held the key to vanquishing the demons, their tormentors for centuries. Hope, a forgotten sensation, bloomed in Pasha's chest, leaving her with a strange disorientation. She hadn't dared to dream in eons. A sliver of doubt remained, however. A human king, imbued with magic? Savior to the Taqualan witches? No wonder Alethea bristled with suspicion. Still, Pasha knew reconnaissance was crucial. Someone had to verify Phyllis's claims. Pasha didn't doubt Phyllis's loyalty. Exiled from the Union, they were a band of sisters now. But this whole proposition reeked of fantastical fiction. It was too good to be true. Caution was paramount. With a mental nudge, Pasha addressed the group. King Roland, he's serious about letting us into this dream world? Yes, Phyllis confirmed, but with restrictions. It's like our world, rules apply. They need a small group to enter first, pioneers, to ensure a smooth transition before a larger influx. Pasha felt a sliver of worry ease. A trap wouldn't offer an escape route. What kind of requirements? Alethea cut in. Phyllis shifted uncomfortably. He needs agile witches, stealthy, skilled in control and attack. Combat witches? Alethea scoffed. Didn't you mention the power in this world surpasses even the demons? Isn't this contradictory? He doesn't expect a full-blown war, Phyllis stammered, but what? The crowd echoed. Well, Phyllis mumbled, cheeks flushing, he needs discreet acquisition specialists. Targeting the wicked, of course. An awkward silence stretched. Wait a minute, Alethea began, indignation rising. Does he think we're glorified thieves? We're respected. Her voice was drowned by a wave of excited murmurs. Interesting, someone chimed in. The initial skepticism had morphed into intrigue. The promise of the dream world, even with its oddities, was a powerful lure. A sly grin spread across Pasha's face. Hold on there, hotshot. Stealth is the name of the game, remember? My shadow daggers are perfect for a silent takedown. Pasha chuckled, patting Alethea reassuringly on the back. Just a little stir-crazy, that's all. Let's show them how it's done, shall we? 3 days crept by. Roland had meticulously laid the groundwork for his audacious plan. He'd secured a discreet warehouse near Zero's apartment to act as a temporary gateway to the dream world. As long as the witches gathered there before he initiated the connection, they'd awakened back in the warehouse upon their return. The initial entry point, however, remained a mystery. Roommate 25 in Zero's apartment seemed inexplicably tethered to the dream world. Perhaps Zero himself was the key, but Roland couldn't decipher the connection. This meant waiting until Zero was safely at school before each witch's arrival. During this time, Roland had chosen 4 God's Punishment witches, including Phyllis, to be the first pioneers. The first 2 days were a whirlwind of fast food and drinks, a meager attempt to satiate their ravenous hunger after years of deprivation. By day 3, his funds dwindled, forcing him to resort to instant noodles and water. Even this meager fare elicited ecstatic reactions. They practically devoured the seasoning packets, much to Roland's amusement and silent plea for them to maintain a semblance of decorum. That's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this chapter. If you'd like the video, join me for the next exciting chapter. Be sure to subscribe.